Hola, clase. Today we're working on clase número 16 for español. It's either going to be viernes or lunes. Lunes, I'll be back, so it'll just be viernes for you. And we're going to start by talking about repaso de la circunlocución. But I just want to head over to Schoology and just navigate you for a minute. You should have a new folder. I just put everything together. So if you go into Unidad Uno, and if you have to pause this video at any point just to get where I'm asking you to go, there is a new folder called Las Expresiones de Emergencia y la Circunlocución Survival Spanish. And this is going to house all of the materials we've been working on so far and some new stuff that we're going to do for today. So if you clicked on that folder, you have some notes that you hopefully got a paper copy of in class, and that would have been the Expresiones de Emergencia. So that actually looks like this, where you had to write the expressions. So hopefully you have a copy of this. If you did not get a copy, I had said that you could print a copy or use a digital copy, but you can always just hit print and copy this. So it's a good idea to have the notes and hopefully you have them filled in. If you did them in Cami, you can also print them. If you don't want to print them, it's okay. But I do need you to be able to reference the notes at some point. We did all of these so far in class, so hopefully you have some of the notes that I gave you last class, and you'll know the categories. So that's the first thing. So right now I'm going to actually head over, and we'll come back to this folder. I'm going to head over to Quizlet. This is the first thing that's on our list here. It's the Quizlet card. So if you clicked on this, you're going to get over to your Quizlet, and it's basically called Sustantivos Comunes, Animales en Objetos, to go with the circumlocution game. Use these cards first to review for circunlocución. So if you'd like to, you can pause this video, you can grab your Quizlet, go to Quizlet, and then just click on that first document there with 86 terms, términos, that I put in August of 2022. So it should be in your class cards. There's some other stuff in there, but there are only about 5 sets of cards at this point. So once you're in, I just want to go through a few and just remind you. So there's a bunch of different ones in here that we're going to talk about, but these come from the notes. I did put some additional ones in there, but it just gets you started on circumlocution. And so first, for example, you might tell me it's a noun if you're trying to describe something. So you would say es un sustantivo. Maybe you want to tell me it's a verb or an acción, es un verbo or es una acción. So sometimes you don't know how to say something in Spanish. So we use circunlocución or survival Spanish to say what something is without knowing the word for it. Maybe it's un objeto. So es un objeto que, it's an object que usas en la mañana, that you use in the morning. Or maybe es algo que, it's something that. So you don't have to memorize all of these phrases by now, but you should just kind of get familiar with them. Es una persona, right? So it might be a person, like es una persona que trabaja en una escuela y enseña clases. So maybe you're talking about a teacher. Es un animal. Es un animal que vive en el bosque tropical, or maybe que vive en Africa. So maybe you're telling me about an African animal or one that lives in the jungle or the forest. Se usa para. So maybe you're telling me what it's used for. Se usa para despertarse. It's used to wake up. Algunos ejemplos son. Or unos ejemplos son. It's a synonym, or it's the same as. So this comes from your notes. Again, if you were looking at these notes here, you would see all of these phrases. So I took a lot of this that you were taught there and I put them into the Quizlet. So es un sinónimo de, or maybe an antónimo de. So maybe it's the opposite. Es similar a. So you could say it's similar to. Es el opuesto de. So the opposite of. So some of these you may know, but just trying to get you to learn some of the circumlocution vocab. Es una comida. So maybe you're going to tell me it's a food. Es bajo, alto, grande, largo, redondo. So bajo, it's short. Alto, it's tall. Grande, big. Largo is long. and redondo is circular or round. So those are just some. So try to get into these cards and study them a little bit. I'm not asking you to memorize them, but at least familiarize yourself. Tiene. So what does it have? Tiene un cuello largo. So a cuello is a neck. So it's a long neck. Rayas are stripes. Puntos are like dots or like a mariquita, like a ladybug. Piernas largas, which are long legs. Un tronco, a trunk. So you'll have the English on the other side. Es un tipo de animal. Maybe it's an animal. Or es un tipo de insecto. Es un tipo de transporte. Maybe it's a train you're talking about or an autobús. So that's a transportation method. Vive en. Where does it live? Vive en el bosque. Maybe in el bosque tropical. Maybe in the tropical forest. Or el desierto, the desert. Or la jungla. Or el mar. So you could tell me where it lives if you don't know how to say the animal. Es de plástico. What is it made of? Madera, wood, metal. Cristal is glass. So you have those there. So here's an example of a description. So you can say something like, se usa para cepillar los dientes, es de plástico o a veces de madera. Hay versiones eléctricas y manuales. Una marca popular es Crest or Sonicare. So what I'm doing here is I'm using the words that you have here. So these are all, most of the circumlocution definitions that you have come from our list here. So that's why having these words will be important. So for that one, it would have been un cepillo de dientes. Here's another one. Se usa para poner flores. Lo llenas de agua. So when you have lo there, you're saying it. Llenar is to fill. So lo llenas, you fill it. Lo llenas de agua para mantener a las flores frescas. A veces es de cristal. Sometimes it's glass o de plástico. And that's going to be a florero. So once you know your words, these will be a little bit easier. Se usa cuando tienes frío, durante todas las estaciones. Hay de diferentes colores y estilos. Por ejemplo, de jean. Tiene mangas largas. It has long sleeves. So that's going to be a chaqueta. So we'll do one more. Es una máquina que usas para lavar tu ropa. A veces está en el sótano de tu casa. So sometimes it's in the basement of your house. So you don't get worried if you don't know all of these words. These are just general descriptions. Your descriptions might be a little simpler, and that's okay. This is a lavadora. So familiarize yourself with these cards, especially these first ones. Use these cards first to review for circunlocución. You could do it outside of class just to make sure that you know some of them. So next, what we're going to do is I do want to make sure that you have the copy. So if you look at that document I was just talking about, if you don't have this, when I gave them out originally, they came along with the emergency expressions. They were attached. So for some reason you don't have these 4 lists, please print them. So you can print it now if the teacher is allowing you to print. Or you can print it out after class. And you can either find it in the document for today. So it's number 2, make sure you have all the words in Spanish from those lists. Or, again, they're in Schoology. They're right in that emergency expressions folder. So it's called Vocabulario, Animales, Lugares, Personas y Objetos. It's that second list. So I would like you to make sure that you have most of those filled in. So if you want to just pause this video now, we do have some time in class. There's just a little bit more that I'll have you do. So the way that you can use, there's another Quizlet with all those words. So once you have the document, and if you want to pause this video and make sure that everyone has the document, or if you can get it right in Cami. So if you click on this, it's in Cami too. So you can click on Cami and you can fill in the words right there. The way you can fill in the words would be to use your Quizlet cards. So if you go into Quizlet, you can go into your Spanish class and you'll see a giant document. It has about 140 terms, and that's where all the words would be. So you just have to go through. It starts with the first one, but you would click on una hamburguesa con queso. What I would do though first is fill in the ones that you know. So we were supposed to do this last class. If you know one or if you know some of them, fill them in first, and then you can use Quizlet to fill in the ones that you don't know. Help each other. Definitely help a neighbor. If someone's struggling, they can work along with you. But you want to make sure that you fill in most of the words from that list, from the 4 lists. Some of them are already filled in for you, as you see. But the ones that are missing are the ones that you should be filling in. So again, pause this video and then we'll go on to the next activity. The next thing that we're going to do is, it says práctica de la circunlocución. We're going to just complete actually one activity. The second activity is going to be your homework. So I'm just going to put one activity there. And so if we open this document, you can either find it in Schoology. It's in that Expresiones de Emergencia folder. And it's called Dos Prácticas de Circunlocución, Tarea Graded Homework. It's actually also homework. So page 2 will be your homework. Page 1 is going to be classwork right now. So if we open that document, these words come straight from the 4 lists that we just talked about, where you wrote the definitions for. So if you would, with your partner, you can work with a partner if you want, or you can work on your own. You want to read over the definition. So we'll do the first one together. It says, es un objeto que se usa para buscar definiciones. Está en orden alfabético. So you kind of want to know your words as much as possible. So you have es una comida, es un objeto, es un lugar, it's a place, es una persona. So you have all the categories up here. Es una persona, es un animal, es un lugar, this is a place. If you don't know that lugar is place, just write that down. Es un objeto, it's an object. Or es una comida, it's a food. So these are our 5 categories. So maybe es una piña, maybe it's a pineapple. Una fresa. Tocino is bacon, just in case you didn't know that. Un edificio is a building. Un restaurante de comida rápida is a fast food restaurant. Un soldado, that's going to be a soldier. Un tiburón is a shark. Un mosquito, un flamenco. Flamingo. Un cerdo is a pig. Un mono, monkey. So you can pause this video now and we'll go over the answers right after, and then I'll talk about your homework. So pause this video, work with a partner. When you're ready, you can play the video, but get all the answers first. So until everyone's done, just come back to me and I'll give you the answers. So for número 1, we have, es un objeto que se usa para buscar definiciones. That's going to be un diccionario. Es un animal rosado que vive en granjas. Granjas are farms. Come comidas diferentes que no comen los humanos. That's going to be un cerdo, a pig. 3, we have es un lugar donde compras panes y pasteles. Muchos supermercados los tienen. That's going to be una panadería, like a bakery. Una panadería. Es una fruta roja, dulce y suave, tiene semillas. Semillas are seeds in su superficie, which is on their surface. So what would that one be? We have, es una fresa. So that one would be una fresa. Next, we have, es un objeto que usas para escribir fechas importantes y tu horario, which is your schedule. Hoy muchas personas lo tienen en su teléfono. So lo tienen, again, is going to be they have it. That lo is it en su teléfono. Pero antes solo había de papel before there was only paper. That's going to be un calendario. Es una persona que viaja a menudo. So viajar is to travel. So travels a lot. A menudo is often. O trabaja en aviones, opera el avión y anuncia cosas importantes a los viajeros, to the travelers. So that's going to be el piloto. Un piloto. Se usa para cepillarse los dientes. Lo usas 2 o 3 veces al día. That's going to be un cepillo de dientes. And then es un animal gris que vive en el agua salada. Salada is just salty, so salty water. Y puede ser muy peligroso. It can be very peligroso, dangerous. Tiene dientes afilados, so this is sharpened or sharp teeth. And that's going to be un tiburón. So hopefully that wasn't too scary or challenging, but some of those words might have thrown you off, but hopefully you got the gist and you could have figured them out. So now your homework's going to be to describe these words that you have at the bottom. So this is página dos, and we'll go over these. Try your best. Please don't use a translator for these. Use the vocabulary that you learned. You can use your Quizlet cards. You can use your notes that we've learned, or you could just use any Spanish that you know at this point. This is supposed to be survival Spanish, where you're in a Spanish-speaking country. You might not know how to say helado. You really want to eat some. So how would you say that word? So these all come from that list of the 4 different categories. So try your best to maybe say where the thing lives, when it's eaten, cuando se come, use your notes. And then when I come back on Monday, we'll go over it. If you have class on Monday or Tuesday, we will review, but do not use a translator. You won't have a translator when you need your survival Spanish. So the whole point is that you use the Spanish that you know to make a definition. Use pencil maybe, because then when we come to class, we'll find the best definition. You can work together with someone if you want. It is a graded assignment, so you'll get 10 points for this. But try to work together. Maybe you can help each other out. There is some stuff up here. You have es un objeto, maybe it's un animal. Maybe you could talk about el color, the color, para qué se usa para, qué se hace ahí, what you do there. So for example, se come aquí, so if it's a restaurante, for example. And then, so that's it. Es todo para hoy. Just complete this. You can, if you have class time right now, you could do that now. But this is your tarea, and I'm excited estoy muy emocionada de verlas otra vez el lunes o el martes. Muchas gracias.